3, 2, 1.
Please stand by for further details. We return you now to your regularly scheduled program.
Hello to those of you who are feeling called to this reading in particular, mystery reading number 1104. My name is Elizabeth, and before getting into this reading, if you are a recurring viewer, you enjoy my work and you would like to help support it, feel free to do so by sticking around and hitting that subscribe button down below and ringing the notification bell next to it if you feel called to. If you do feel called to subscribe and stick around, my current goal is 300 subscribers, so thank you very much for your support as well as your presence during this reading. So the first message that I have for you is about trusting that everything happens for a reason. This is a very common message that comes through in readings for me. So maybe there is a call here for somebody to have a little more trust and faith in themselves, and especially in the universe and whatever higher power you believe in. Moving into interpreting number 1104, there are, starting with the number 1, there are 2 ones, and this number is about trusting and believing in yourself. So, given what we already talked about with trusting that everything happens for a reason, and the message came through because I saw 1, 2, 3 on the timer as soon as I was ready to start talking after being silent. Just for clarity and transparency. But, given since we already had that message about trusting that everything happens for a reason, that sign, it just feels like the number 1 here is, especially since there's 2 ones, it's really, really reinforcing that message of trust and faith in both yourself, what you're capable of, and the universe, and what is possible for you. It may be important for somebody to stay open-minded. I'm also feeling connected to somebody's strength here. I do believe that our strength comes from having faith, having hope, having trust. So somebody here could be feeling a little weak. Not in a bad way, though. Maybe just tired, overwhelmed, maybe even frustrated. I just really get this feeling that there is this spiritual presence here for you to help you stay focused and on track with, I suppose, achieving your goals and, creating a life that reflects everything and everyone that means the most to you. The next number, the number 0, can be about recurring patterns or themes in the form of spiritual communication with signs, messages, readings, etc., or in your own experiences with the way that things align. Are you noticing a pattern or recurring themes in the experiences that you're having right now, or that you have already had in the past? Are you noticing certain symbols or messages and readings that keep repeating themselves? Is there something that you're ignoring? Whether you're ignoring something or not, this is a call to pay attention. It's confirmation or guidance for you to pay attention to these patterns or whatever these themes are and what they really mean, especially for you spiritually, your spiritual growth, your spiritual path, your spiritual existence. You could be having some existential questions, which would make sense given, we've already talked a lot about having more trust and more faith in yourself and whatever higher power you believe in. Whatever you do, never question your worth and what you deserve, because that is something that will never change. The fact that you will always deserve better and good things, that will never change. Nothing can change that. Even if you don't honor what you deserve, that doesn't mean that you don't deserve what you're not honoring. Just don't let, how do I say this? Don't get distracted by what you can't control, what you can't do, what you don't have. Stay focused on what you can control, what you do have, what you can do. That's all the universe, I believe, wants us to focus on, is our own power. And not question so much the power of the universe. I mean, it's totally normal to do that. And I think it is part of the spiritual journey to question whatever higher power is out there. In fact, I think we are meant to question it. But my point is, stay focused on your own power and don't worry so much about bigger things that you don't understand. Bigger mechanisms, bigger effects, bigger causes. And of course, it's okay to reflect on it, question it, think about it, but don't dwell on it, is really what I'm trying to say. Don't dwell on it so much that you sabotage yourself and lock yourself up in your own mind. A prison in your own mind. The number 0 can also be a reminder or confirmation for you to know when to put yourself first, when to respect yourself, especially your needs and what you deserve. The last number, the number 4, is connected to stability and your ancestors. And I personally believe that for a long time, our ancestors have been trying to connect with us to, help us create more stability within ourselves so we can have more stability in this reality, in our everyday lives. I do love to mention that even though your ancestors might be here for you, other people's ancestors are too. I honestly believe that we're all, really connected. We're all family in a sense. But, it's just nice, in my opinion, to acknowledge that there's a whole fleet of ancestors who aren't playing around, that are here to support you and all of us here on this earth. So if you ever do need familial support, don't be afraid to talk to your ancestors, even if you don't know who they are, you've never met them. I'm very confident that they want to keep it simple, they want to meet you, and they want to know you, even though I think they already know you. But I think, if you want to connect with them more, I'm confident they do want to connect with you. I couldn't imagine a world where they would reject you or anything. There's just that spiritual love, that spiritual presence that's always there whenever you need it, especially if you're really struggling with, believing in your strength, tapping into your own strength, and maintaining your faith. I think that's just what they want for us the most, to remember our faith and our strength, so that way we can remember our own power. So is there something within you creating instability, or something outside of you? And what can you do about it? For somebody, it may be more important to focus on creating stability within you than outside of you, and trust that over time you will manifest and create the stability that you need in your reality after you already create that stability within yourself. I mean, that's how I believe manifestation works. Whatever's going on the inside is exactly what's going to happen on the outside. We just have to be patient and maintain the faith. I'm just laughing because I've been noticing lately, like on my mom's side of the family, I mean, if you don't already know, I have Italian ancestors, and I do this with my hands, and I'm like 4th generation, and so I just noticed it's something that I do, and it's just crazy to me how strong, the influence of our ancestors, even if they're like generations behind us, how strong their influence can still be. I mean, if you really think about it, there's all this talk about the patriarchy, and my understanding is that, men started to be more relied on by women, way like thousands of years ago. And that seems obvious, right? But we're still feeling that influence and that impact today. That's how strong, that's how much power our ancestors had. And that's how much power you still have right now. To either stay the same course or change it. Adding up these numbers, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 0 is still 2, plus 4 is 6. And the number 6 is about a choice between being committed to self-love and self-care, or self-hate and self-destruction. There is a choice that needs to be made. And it could be something, specific, like a specific situation where you have to choose yourself, or the other decision is something that is not really in your best interest. Or this is just something more general, like a commitment of like, no matter what happens, I will always choose self-love. Or I'm not even going to say I will always choose self-hate, because I don't want anybody to choose that. So of course the number 6 in a reading is going to be encouragement for you to choose self-love and self-care, to honor the work that your ancestors have already done to get us to where we are today. And I want to say especially the women and the men who knew the system was broken hundreds of years before we did. So yeah, definitely choose wisely moving forward, and be wise about what you choose to focus on, and ultimately to invest in, that will grow over time. So, there are a few decks of cards on the table. Over here is the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot. These are the major arcana cards from tarot. I'm going to use to look at what major theme or big idea is important to look at here or talk about. And then over here is the Magical Dogs Tarot. These are just the minor arcana tarot cards that I'm going to use to get more detail into whatever this major theme or big idea is. And then I will wrap up the reading by drawing out an Ancestor Spirit Oracle card here to see what your ancestors have to say. And I don't know, especially when ancestors become a theme in the reading before I actually get to the cards, I always feel like really look forward to seeing what comes through with these cards, the Ancestor Spirit Oracle cards. So let's go ahead and draw out one of these major arcana cards from the Nightmare Before Christmas Tarot to to see what major theme or big idea is important to talk about here. I really should have mentioned that earlier that I saw the devil, because so whenever I was, collecting these cards together to put them on the table before I started recording this reading, I of course had to separate the cards from the minor arcana and the major arcana cards, and I put them, picture side upright, and the major arcana for this deck over here that I saw was the devil. And I saw it earlier in my mind's eye when I was talking about the number 6, I think, because I associate self-hate and self-destruction with the devil, at least in a tarot interpretation. And this is the exact card we have right now, the devil. It says self-indulgence, immorality, ego, no self-control, instant gratification. In reverse, it says self-sabotage, confront fears, level head, bravery, and release. And the devil card has the number 15 on it. 1 plus 5 is 6. That is why I think about the devil card when I talk about the number 6. This really does feel like a powerful message to release yourself from your own ego, your own desires, like being a slave to your own mind, or the human side of yourself, your senses. The devil is some sort of unhealthy attachment. And this could be more obvious in the form of a relationship or a substance, or it could be less obvious and more deeply psychological, like being attached to only good outcomes, to the point where if you become disappointed, all hell breaks loose. So I really encourage you, if you don't already know, to reflect on whatever this unhealthy attachment is, and to choose self-love so you can free yourself. This is what your ancestors want for you. This is what our ancestors want for the collective. I do believe that the devil is less of a real, physical being and just more of a symbol. That's just my beliefs, though. So, you believe what you want to believe, as we all should. But I believe that the devil here is a symbol to remind us of our weakness as humans, which is self-indulgence, immorality, ego, no self-control, being attached to instant gratification. Let's go ahead and get one of these minor arcana cards from the Magical Dogs Tarot to get more detail into this. Yeah, that really does make a lot of sense. We have the Ace of Swords. I'm also feeling connected to the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands. So I feel like there could be something here about a spiritual awakening or waking up to an opportunity that you are passionate about. That really fits well into what drives you, what motivates you, what inspires you. To make better decisions, to love yourself in the way that you deserve to be loved. See, the swords, the Ace of Swords is more focused on your mind. Ace of Cups is more about your emotions, and the Ace of Wands is more about your passion, your soul. That's my interpretation. And looking at the Ace of Swords here, with it being connected to your mind, I think there's some sort of perspective that you gotta wake up to. That there's something here that you need to realize, or maybe there's some new idea that could come through by freeing yourself. It feels like the most important thing that you need to focus on right now is your mind, your psychology, healing, for sure. Because it really, really does, especially if you're feeling connected to the Ace of Cups and the Ace of Wands, that your ancestors and your spirit guides in general want you to realize something that you deserve to realize, or to know, to be aware of, to be conscious of. Let's finish up this reading now by drawing out one of these Ancestor Spirit Oracle cards. I think this one's going to be kind of short because I am low on energy. I am feeling impatient today. So maybe you could resonate with that. Be feeling a little bit of that exhaustion and the frustration. That actually makes a lot of sense. It really does. Because that's how unhealthy attachments make us feel. Frustrated and exhausted. So if you're still confused on whatever this unhealthy attachment is, what makes you feel this way? What thoughts, feelings, beliefs, physical, tangible things in this world? What is it? So the Ancestor Spirit Oracle card that I have says, enjoy new beginnings. Celebrate, socialize, and change. There's so much blue in these cards. Because I was going to say that an ace can also be seen as a card about some sort of beginning. So this message about enjoying new beginnings really lines up. If you notice red on my fingers, it's because of some chicken that I ate. So don't mind that. But as I was saying, I was going to say there's a lot of blue here and here, but there's also a lot of blue here. Maybe if you feel called to, I encourage you to look up what is the spiritual significance of the color blue. Now I'm feeling connected to the word blue, which is spelled B-L-U in Italian. Is there some sort of university that has the initials of B-L-U? But yeah, what is that spiritual significance of the color blue for you? Now I'm feeling connected to the word azzurro, which means sky blue. Maybe there's something here about different shades of blue that your ancestors in particular, are really pointing out here or highlighting. For me, especially with green here, I kind of get an earthy feel when I see blue and green together for obvious reasons. But I see blue as being connected to your emotions because water is blue and water is connected to emotions. Actually, is water blue? I guess it depends where you're getting it from. But, yeah, there's really something significant here about your emotions. It's reminding me of the Ace of Cups and how that one can be about emotions. Just overall, there's something here there's an unhealthy attachment here, and by letting go, understanding the attachment so you know how to walk away from it, you will know more, you will feel more, and you will have more drive and more motivation. But that's only if you heal. You move forward with healing and self-love rather than hating yourself or mistreating yourself. There's just something here you got to walk away from and learn from, it feels like.